If we have not already reached peak stupidity, God help us all. Twitter launched on March 21st, 2006. If we could go back in time to stop that from happening, the world would be a much better place. Because now, in addition to your resume, cover letter, and interview to get a job, an employer will determine your worth based on your tweet history. Consider them your character references. And if you have anything that may reveal bias, character flaws damaging to the reputation of the potential employer, and or outright cries for violence against other human beings, you won't be hired. That is except if you want to work for the New York Times. They, being all the news that's fit to print, also has determined that all the racism that's fit to tweet is found in their ideal candidate for hire. A tweet such as this. White people hate being reminded that they're white. I think they prefer thinking of themselves as default colored. The Times hired the author of that tweet, a woman named Sarah. Last week, Sarah was hired to be the lead writer on technology for the editorial board. Sarah is a tech culture journalist and a lawyer. Sarah attended Berkeley and Harvard Law School, and Sarah likes to put out racist tweets like this one. I know nobody wants to be the bad white person, but maybe no one wants your guilt either, just some thoughtfulness and maybe silence. And this one, dumb A effing white people marking up the internet with their opinions like dogs pissing on fire hydrants. Okay, one more. Oh man, it's kind of sick how much joy I get out of being cruel to old white men. How is Sarah not a racist? How is she allowed to say such vile comments and be hired by a newspaper that claims to inform the public in an unbiased manner? One thing is that Sarah has stated many times on Twitter, quote, some of my best friends are white people. Also, this is Sarah Jeong. Sarah says Harvard is still the most exclusive white boy club in the world. And again, Sarah graduated from Harvard Law School. I know, you're either laughing or crying right now. Jeong likes to tweet hateful comments, and the New York Times is completely okay with it. The real issue is not even the tweets, but the double standard by the newspaper that has lambasted celebrities and other writers for similar actions. Bret Stephens, who will surely welcome Jeong to the team, devoted an entire column in the Times to saying why Roseanne needed to be fired for her one tweet about Valerie Jarrett, and the Times staff wrote many stories on the issue. So what's the difference? Because both women tweeted something stupid, both were called racists, and both made an excuse for why it happened. Jeong and the New York Times say the tweets were taken out of context, and Roseanne took an Ambien, so of course it was the drug's fault. The real difference is the one who has the worldview acceptable to the left gets the job. Not even keeps her job, but actively gets hired for the job. The New York Times said that they reviewed Jeong's social media, and they had candid conversations with Sarah as part of the thorough vetting process, which included a review of her social media history. Jeong has more than 103,000 tweets and has been on Facebook for 12 years. She also has hundreds of tweets discussing white people, men, and police officers. Based on the Times' level of investigative journalism of late, I have my reservations about this so-called fact. But in their own defense, truth. It's hard to find. In this hire, after learning all that they did, the Times is saying they are okay with whites, men, police, and others being openly prejudiced against. This sentiment goes full-on contrary to journalistic integrity. 3 core principles of journalism are fairness, impartiality, and humanity. Journalists are to minimize harm and treat members of the public as human beings deserving of respect. So, do the opposite of this. F the police, restrict cops to certain hours when we can be sure they won't hurt anyone, no cops at night, no cops during the day either, come to think. All right, just abolish the police. And with all these tweets dating back mostly from 2014 to present, Jeong has not been suspended from Twitter. We know they suspend accounts for a lot less, like actual thought that doesn't toe the lefty line. But she's allowed to tweet this. Are white people genetically predisposed to burn faster in the sun, thus logically being only fit to live underground like groveling goblins? On Saturday, conservative Candace Owens mimicked that last tweet by Jeong and was suspended. She swapped out Jeong's use of the term white with Jewish, and Twitter kicked her off the platform. And mind you, Jeong has not yet been kicked off the platform. Now, Twitter claims it was an error that Candace got taken off the platform, but they didn't let her back on until she deleted her tweets. Meanwhile, Jeong now has a job at the New York Times.
Everything is implicitly organized around how men see the world. And not just men, how white men see the world. And This is a problem. This is why so many things suck.
Was she just talking about her new boss, New York Times publisher A.G. Sulzberger, who recently complained about Donald Trump calling journalists the enemy of the people? The next time Sulzberger wants to talk about enemies, he may want to remember this tweet. I'm happy I could share something that genuinely resonated with so many of you, but I'm also cringing because I'm going to get so many white replies. I wonder if that's how she's going to end her articles, or if it would be better to just bring this old tweet back. I'm sorry about everything. Now, the New York Times can hire whomever they want. The First Amendment is in place for this very reason, and the Times is an independent company that will thrive or dive on its decisions. They had the decision to not hire Jeong, but they want her worldview on staff, and they showed their hand. Now the subscribers can decide if that's a company they wish to support. Until next time, stay off of Twitter and stay healthy, America.